In this module 4, we will talk about Bayesian learning. So we have discussed about discrete classification of a discrete data set using decision trees and other things which we have studied in the first chapter, candidate elimination algorithm, like that. And also we in chapter 3, module 3, we have discussed about neural networks where there are weights and those weights are tuned using backpropagation algorithm and uh, we predict we some values, okay, or some classifications. Now we will go to Bayesian learning. Now the Bayesian learning basically based on probability. Okay, so it tells us how much a particular hypothesis is probable to be correct. Okay, so suppose we have yes or no. What is the probability of yes for a given instance? What is the probability of yes? What is the probability of no? Okay, suppose. Okay, so Bayesian learning is based mainly on probability. Okay, so we'll start reading some definitions and understand. So Bayesian learning algorithms that calculate explicit probabilities for hypotheses such as naive Bayesian classifier are among the most practical approaches to certain types of learning problems. Okay, so we have observed that each of the ways like neural networks or decision trees or candidate elimination algorithm or finesse algorithm, so these are algorithms, they are not fit for every type of problem, they are fit for only certain type of problem. So Bayesian learning also are fit for certain types of problem. So the Bayesian methods are important to our study of machine learning that they provide a useful perspective for understanding many learning algorithms that do not explicitly manipulate probabilities. Okay, so in neural networks or any other ways like Finesse algorithm, they do not give us a probabilities. Okay, so what is the probability of yes? What is the probability of no? So they do not give the probability. So in Bayesian learning, everything depends on probability. Okay, so these slides they are made uh, by taking important points from a topic. Okay, so the main idea is during examination is to remember the main points, important main points for answer writing, right? So these slides, this presentation is shaped such that the points mentioned in these slides, they are important for on each topic. I have given in a compact way the required details or required points which has to be present in your answer. Okay. So what are the features of Bayesian learning methods? So each observed training example can incrementally decrease or increase the estimated probability that a hypothesis is correct. Okay. So for a hypothesis, for example, uh, we have a hypothesis which classifies an instance as yes. So if we see a negative hypothesis for the same situation, then it will decrease the probability that the given hypothesis is positive, right? So when during training for a particular combination of data values, um, whenever it goes on searching for positive and negative examples, the hypothesis also changes, it keeps changing. Okay, so suppose we have 100% classification for a particular combination of data values. Okay, so 100 with 100% probabilities it says yes. Suppose it encounters a negative example for the same or similar combination of values, then its probability decreases from 100% to by some percentage, right? So you can manipulate the hypothesis uh, by observing instances. So basically this point is telling that you can train the Bayesian network. Okay, you can train the Bayesian network, that's what it is telling. So next one, Prior knowledge can be combined with observed data to determine the final probability of hypothesis. So prior knowledge, for example, suppose you are expecting a question to be repeated in the examination from the previous papers. That knowledge of previous papers that this particular question was asked, that is prior knowledge. Okay, based on the prior knowledge, that is, for example, previous three question papers have a similar particular type of question. So you, based on the prior knowledge, now you predict that that same type of question may be asked. There is high probability that that similar question may be asked. So those kind of conditions can be accommodated in Bayesian learning. We will see the formula, then we'll come to know what we are talking about. So the second feature is the prior knowledge can be combined with the observed data. Next one, Bayesian methods can accommodate hypotheses that make probabilistic predictions for all the type of applications where the probabilistic predictions are needed. So Bayesian methods are suitable for it. And new instances can be classified by combining the predictions of multiple hypotheses weighted by their probabilities. So we will see in future many hypotheses like map hypothesis, maximum a posterior hypothesis, where there will be multiple hypotheses and we will pick the hypothesis which has the highest probability of correctness. Okay, so this point is telling those things. Okay, so these 4 points will be clear when we see those particular instances. Okay, particular algorithms. So we'll just read once again. So the first thing is uh, during training, the probability prediction for a particular hypothesis may change. Okay. So next, if we have prior knowledge about the hypothesis, so suppose we are predicting that previously this hypothesis has been correct for other data sets for similar kind of combination of values. So that prior knowledge can also be considered. There is a way, mathematically, there is a way to combine that prior knowledge for the present result. Okay, so that's the next one. So next one, third one, the Bayesian methods can accommodate hypotheses that needs a probabilistic predictions. Okay, all the applications which needs a probabilistic type of predictions, Bayesian methods can be applied. And also, so if we have multiple hypotheses, we can predict our probabilities for those multiple hypotheses and combine them and get a result. Okay, so these are the four main features of so, and also we have some more. So they can provide a standard of optimal decision making against which other practical methods can be measured. So what it is telling is uh, we always need a benchmark. Okay, so how can we say, for example, findess is good, or candidate elimination is good, or neural network is good? So we always need a benchmark, and this Bayesian method is used as a benchmark always. Okay, so there are good evidences or support that we use Bayesian method as benchmark and measure the correctness of other methods. We have disadvantages too here. So one difficulty is it needs initial probabilities. So we will see the when we see the formula for Bayesian learning, so we will know that we need different kind of probabilities beforehand, so that we can predict the probability for a given hypothesis. So it is that they need a initial knowledge of its component probabilities. So when these probabilities are not known in advance, they are often estimated on the background knowledge. So this involves a lot of computation. Okay, so that's a disadvantage. So the second disadvantage is um so it has a significant computational cost, as I have told in this point. So Bayesian methods often have a significant computational cost if the prior probabilities are not known. Okay, so if you want to find an optimal hypothesis, so we know that there may be many hypotheses which are correct. So we want to find an efficient hypothesis, right? So uh, So suppose we are finding the predictions or the probabilities for all the hypotheses, and we want to pick a best hypothesis out of it. So if that kind of situation occurs, then it will be computationally intensive. Okay, so these two are the main practical disadvantages we have. So we have in these two slides what we have learned. So one is features or maybe told as an advantage of Bayesian learning, and also what are the disadvantages of Bayesian learning. Now we look at the formula. So this is the most important formula of the Bayes theorem. Okay, so probability of H given D equal to probability of data set given H multiplied by probability of the hypothesis divided by probability of the data set. Here H is hypothesis, and also it is not here, but H, capital H, is set of hypothesis. It is set of hypothesis. Now if you take D, D as a single instance, okay, from the data set, it is a single instance. So here D means the entire data set, entire data set. P is for probability. Now what, so look at this third point, look at this third point. So what is P of X vertical flat Y? What is, so it means that, so probability of an event X given the event Y. Okay, probability of event X given the event Y. Okay, probability of X given Y. If we want to apply this to our real world, what is the probability that you will drink water after eating a chili, right? So the probability of drinking, what is the probability of drinking water given you eat chili? Okay, so or given you eat salt, right? So what is the probability of you desiring a hot coffee given the weather is cold? Okay, so this is the probability we have to calculate. So how this is a real world example, so we'll see how this works in the formula. Okay, so H for hypothesis, D for entire data set. Now, so what is the probability, what is the probability that this hypothesis is correct for the given data set? So that is the meaning. So for what is the probability that the hypothesis is correct, correctly classified? What is the probability that this hypothesis is correct for the given data set? So it represented by P. It is called posterior probability. The name is posterior probability. Posterior probability is the probability that hypothesis H holds after seeing the dataset D. For a given dataset D, what is the guarantee that the hypothesis holds? Holds means correct. Okay, so what is the still stands? So what is the guarantee? What is the probability that the hypothesis H holds after seeing the dataset, after considering the dataset D? That is P of H given D. Okay, so let's see the other one, vice versa. What is the probability, okay, that the instances in the data set D occurs for a given hypothesis H? So you have a hypothesis, you go on applying for different instances. Okay, so what is the guarantee that for a hypothesis that the instances present in data set D will occur? Okay, so you have prepared for the exam. Okay, what is the so that is the data set you have in your mind. Okay, what is the probability that you will get a particular kind of question? Okay, so you have a hypothesis. Okay, so you already for you have a data set. Okay, so you have a data set. So what is the guarantee that for a given hypothesis, okay, for a given hypothesis, this data set will be encountered? Okay, so you already know some set of questions. What is the probability that the same question will be asked in the question paper? Okay, so so this is a P of D of H, P probability of so let's denote the probability of observing the data D given some word in which hypothesis H holds. Okay, So hypothesis H is correct. It is assumed to be correct. What is the probability that a particular instance of a dataset D is given for classification? Okay. So here H is assumed to be true. We are not questioning the hypothesis here. We are questioning the probability of uh, dataset D occurring for that hypothesis for classification. Here we are not questioning the dataset. We are questioning the hypothesis. So for a given dataset, what is the guarantee that the hypothesis H is true? Okay, so these two are, so you just have to read two or three times, then you will be more familiar. So P of D straight away. So it is not a dependent probability now. So probability of D. So what is the, so it's the probability that the training data D will be observed. So what is the guarantee? So what is the probability that a particular data set will be considered? Normally its value will be 1 because we always apply for a our Bayes theorem or any other algorithm for a given data set. So when it is a given data set, then it is 100% that this data set will be encountered by the hypothesis. That means P of D will be most of the time in our calculation, it will be 1. So just for knowledge sake, so P of D denote the prior probability that the training data D will be observed. Okay, this particular data D will be used for the training. What is the probability? So P of D it is called. So P of H, so denote initial probability that hypothesis H holds, known as prior probability. So, so we talked about a question repeating in the question paper, right? So what is the gap? So suppose in the previous 3 years question paper, a particular kind of question has been repeated. Okay, so you think that this time also it will get repeated. That is the hypothesis. Okay, that hypothesis has a prior probability. That is 3 times before it has been asked. So that's what here it is asked. P of H means how many times you know that your hypothesis has been true for previous n number of times. What is the guarantee that it will correctly classify for this time, right? So that is P of H. So this is the most important formula, okay, of a Bayes theorem. So you need to remember it. Maximum a posteriori. So we have seen in the previous slide that a P of probability of H being correct given for the data set, it is called posterior probability. Okay, so if there are multiple hypotheses and if we need to calculate a posterior probability for all those hypotheses, so then we want to pick after calculating probability for all those multiple hypotheses, a set of hypotheses. We want to select a hypothesis which has highest probability of being correct. Okay, so that is called maximum a posteriori. So posterior probability is that maximum a posteriori map. Okay, so for set of candidate hypothesis H in H, okay, H means a set of hypothesis in capital cities and is interested in finding most probable hypothesis H which belongs to set H. Okay, so it is a set of hypothesis. So in that there are candidate hypothesis. So we calculate posterior probability for each of that candidate hypothesis. Okay, so after calculating, we want to find maximally probable hypothesis. Okay, so which has the highest probability of being correct. So that will be the maximum a posteriori. So you want to for in a real world example, suppose you go for a shop to pick up or buy apples. Okay, so you all among the pool of apples, you go on picking up a apples or fruits which are good than others, right? So here also there is a set of hypotheses, okay, which are correct. We want to pick a hypothesis which is more correct or more probability of being correct. Okay, so have the highest probability of being correct. So what we are doing is for those set of hypotheses, which is set of hypothesis which is denoted by H, capital H. So for each of the hypothesis, uh, so we go on calculating the posterior probability using that formula. Okay, just we saw just what we saw previous slide. So using that formula, so we calculate posterior probability. So for that set of candidate hypothesis, then we examine each hypothesis for its probability, whichever has the highest probability of being correct. So that one we will pick, and that highest probability of being correct hypothesis, that is called maximum a posteriori hypothesis, MAP hypothesis. Okay, so how it is represented? So how is uh, posterior probability represented? P of HD. Okay, posterior probability. Here there are multiple hypotheses. Okay, so candidate as an input. So argmax means what? So it returns a maximum value. So suppose we have four hypotheses, okay, and we calculate a posterior probability for that, and each have like a 0 0.7, 0 0.8, 0 0.9, and 0.95. So if we feed it to argmax, what it will return? It will return the highest value. Okay, so it will return 0.95. So that's what it is denoting. Hypothesis, that is maximum a posteriori, is it's a posterior probability with the for all the hypothesis with the highest value, with the highest value. Okay, so we have just a P of HD we have substituted here. P of D, it is always in this chapter calculation, P of D is considered as 1. Okay, so it is like uh, you want to eat the fruit. What is the probability that you will encounter a seed out of it, right? So if you have the fruit, you will encounter the seed also, right? So if you are considering a data set for training, data set D for training, what is the probability that the particular data set will be encountered? 100%. You are taking the data set, that means 100% you will use that data set. Okay, so what is the probability that this particular data set will be used? So that is what here it signifies. So if we are taking a data set D, so then definitely we will use it, right? So P of D will be always 1 most of the time. So in only in exceptional cases, we don't encounter such cases in this chapter. So P of D will be 1. Okay, so if you didn't understand why P of D, don't take so it just make it 1. That's fine. P of D will be 1 here. So that's why it doesn't have. So this is about a maximum a posteriori. So we'll also see a maximum hypothesis with a maximum likelihood. Okay, so this is the posterior probability. This whole thing is a posterior probability formula. So in HMAP we have dropped this because it says what is the probability that for a given data set the same instances will be encountered. As we have already considering the data set, we will definitely, we are sure 100% sure that the instances of the same data set will be encountered. Okay, so this is 100%, so this equals to 1. Okay, so we have removed in the previous formula. So what about this? So in the maximum likelihood, so we can make another assumption. Okay, so in some cases, okay, so this maximum likelihood only occurs in uh, some cases. In some cases, okay, every hypothesis in H has is equally probable. Okay, so suppose in an examination you have not studied the previous year's question papers. Okay, so then you will not know what is the probability of a particular kind of question. Okay, so all questions are equally probable. So if you know the question paper pattern of previous years, then you know what kind of question are probable. Okay, so so A type of question is probable this much, A B type has been repeated, so on. So if you have not studied the previous year's question paper, then you will not be having the knowledge of a pattern of the question paper. That means all type of question has equal probability of occurring for your knowledge. Okay, so you don't know which question will occur and which question will not occur because you don't know previous year's question paper. So according to that student hypothesis at that point of time, each question, all questions are equally probable of occurring because the student does not know the question paper pattern, right? So in the cases where every hypothesis H is equally probable, then this also becomes one. Okay, so this becomes insignificant because every hypothesis has equal opportunity. So only when you have bias towards a particular hypothesis, then you say it has 70% chance, it is 60% chance, it is 80% chance. So if you don't know any information, then you are saying all hypotheses have equal chance, and that means that occurs to that becomes one, and only this makes the difference. Okay, so this is for maximum likelihood. So you have posterior probability, then you drop this, it becomes H map. Okay, so then you drop this becomes maximum likelihood. Okay, so you cannot apply this formula everywhere. You can apply this formula when you don't have prior knowledge about the hypothesis and all hypotheses are equally probable of being right. Only then you apply this formula. Okay, so we'll just take an example here. Okay, so this particular medical record, okay, says that for a given population, 0.008% have this cancer disease, and 92%, 99.2% does not have cancer disease. 0.8% have that disease. Okay, so when tested, okay, if you for the lab report, 98% of the time, 98% of the time there is a disease, and yeah, the lab report returns positive, means this is true positive. 98% of the time the lab report is uh, correct. Okay, so next 0.3% of the time the disease is present but the report comes the opposite. Okay, so 0.3%, okay, 3% of the time the lab report is false. Okay, so first three observe these three data. So 0.8% of the population, this report says have the statistics says have cancer disease. Okay, so when tested in the lab, 98% of the time it returns true positive, means that the person have the disease and the lab report also indicates the same. 3% of the time it gives the false negative. Okay, okay, so sorry, false positive, means the person does not have the disease but still it returns positive, right? Next one here, this says 99.2% of the population does not have this disease. Okay, so 97% of the time, this has to be a point actually, 97% of the time, so the person does not have and it returns negative. Okay, so it is a true negative. So 2% of the time it is actually uh, negative, but still you get as a positive one. It's a false negative. Okay, so the person have but still gets negative. Okay, the lab report indicates the person does not have the disease but actually the person have the disease. Okay, so C means positive one, negation cancer means does not have the disease. Okay, this is lab report, this indicates the lab report. So it is positive, person is also positive, the lab report is correct 98% of the time. Okay, the lab report is false remaining 3% of the time it gives the false positive. Here it gives the false negative 2% of the time. 97% of the time it returns true negative. Okay, so this is the prior probabilities given to us. So we are talking in the formula about prior probabilities, right? So what happens? A person is tested and returns positive. A person is tested and returns positive. So there are errors here. See, 98% of the time. What is the guarantee that the person is positive? Okay, so what is the probability that the person is positive? Now, uh, so P of HD. Okay, so H, the hypothesis says that the person is positive. So for a given population, okay, you have got the data set. Data set is here means population. Okay, so what is the guarantee that the given report is correct, that is the person is having the disease? So we have the prior probability P of H, means that for a positive disease, how many times? 0.8% of the time of the people have that kind of disease, right? So P of H value we have. Now P of D given H also we have. Okay. So given it is positive, okay, how many times that population will be having that disease? 98% of the time. Okay. So the report says yes. The report says yes. What is the probability? Given the report says yes, what is the probability that the person also have that disease? Okay, so this P of D given H is representing true positive. Okay, P of D given H is representing true positive. So we will 0.008, 0.98 multiply it, you will get this one, 0.0078. Okay, so when a person gets this kind of a diagnosis, then there is a 78% of the chance that this report is true. Okay, there is 78% of the chance that this report is true. Now, what is the chance that the report is indicating true, but still the person does not have? So the report has already come as true. Okay, so we are judging whether it is true, whether the report is correct, or whether the report is false. Okay, the report is already saying that the person have the disease. Okay, so now based on the statistics, we need to judge whether the given report is correct or whether the given report is false. Okay, now let's go and apply the same. So we know prior that here so P of H. Okay, so uh, we know that 99.2% does not have. Okay, so 99.2% of people does not have. Okay, so the chances of having a false negative, okay, sorry, false positive is 3%. Okay, so the person does not have. Okay, so it comes in this category. So multiply 0.0298. Okay, so these are the probabilities here. So what are these probabilities representing? So this probability represents that you have already got the report that you are diagnosed with the disease. Okay, so 78% guarantee that this particular report is correct. Okay, so the remaining 2.9% guarantee that this particular disease report is false. Okay, so this has the which has the highest probability of being right? Okay, so which has the highest probability of being right? So this has the highest probability. That means that the report is indicating it as a positive one, but still the patient does not have the disease. So that theory has the highest probability. So this has the less probability, means that the report is correct. This has the less probability. The report is wrong. This has the highest probability. So we will pick this probability. So maximum a posteriori is this. The report is wrong. Okay, so now if we observe logically whether the report is wrong, right, so that's not the matter here. So here we are seeing how to apply the probabilities. That's the main aim of this problem. Okay, so this shows that the prior probabilities have the strong influence in calculation of the posterior probability. Okay, so uh, see, this is like telling, so suppose there is a rank student and the rank student fails, no one believes it, so there is no chance that the rank student will fail, so that person will apply for revaluation, right? So the person will think the valuation itself is wrong because that person is a rank student, right? Similarly, so that is the influence of the prior probability in our calculation. So here also, so the chances of getting a cancer disease itself is very less. Okay, so the popular when the report comes positive due to prior probability present in the formula, uh, so it rules out the report that it is positive, and it accepts the report that though the report is telling positive, there are higher chances that it may be a false positive. Okay, so this is just to see how it is the application of this formula. Okay, so think three or four times. It will take some time to sink in. So read the formula again and again. So then you will understand how this formula is applied.